Hello, I'm Josh Server, Realtor Mortgage Loan Originator located here in Colorado Springs. I am here to answer some questions that I received from an open house this weekend. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of softness in the market. Things are turning towards buyers. We got about 61 days on market for single family homes, 76 days on market is the average for townhomes. A healthy market for perspective where it's balanced between sellers and buyers is about 3 months. It actually sounds like it's a little bit more in the seller's favor, but the trend is moving towards the buyers, which in and of itself kind of gives buyers more power. You also have prices coming down a little bit. The average deal, you're getting more off the list price than in the recent past. In general, like inventory right now is the highest it's been since 2015 in Colorado Springs. You get about 3,500 homes in the market. For perspective, back in 2020 when things were crazy, we had about 300 homes on the market. So we're more than 10 times that. We're in a much more healthy spot now. 300 is not, that's why where we're seeing all the crazy, everyone bidding over what something's worth and waiving inspections, and appraisers were just going along with it and things were getting inflated. So yeah, good to be where we're at right now. If you're a buyer, especially, prices have been flat for the last 3 years, roughly flat. This last year is probably down about 2%, but I think gonna slowly come back to normalcy. Colorado Springs, the 50-year average for appreciation is about 4.5% per year appreciation. Have been flat for the last 2 or 3 years really means that, that is aiding affordability. Like the worst affordability's been was like a few years ago. Right now we're getting into a better spot. Great question. Yeah, so I got this at the open house the other day. We had 2 veterans, they're married to each other. One had used their VA loan once. They still had it out on that rental property. The other had used it twice. They had sold the second home, kept the first. So they each had limited entitlement. And what you can do with that is you can actually combine between the two. You can mix and match as long as the 2 borrowers sign something to the lender saying, hey, we want to use 200 of so-and-so's entitlement, 600 of mine. And they'll basically like prorate the VA funding fee based on who's got subsequent use, who's got the fee waived, how much of your entitlement are you using. So you can kind of strategize which entitlement you can use. But yeah, you can combine it if you want and go for a property. If let's say you're still short from the amount of loan that you want, well, you can actually go above and beyond your entitlement by putting a 25% of the difference between the purchase price and loan amount you'd be able to get with that entitlement as a down payment. So for numbers' sake, like say you've got 600 left on one person's entitlement, 200 left on another, it's 800 total. You want to buy a $1 million property, you could put 50 grand as a down payment, 25% of that $200,000 difference. And that allows you to access VA loan rates. Maybe the 600K entitlement left person has the funding fee waived because they got at least 10% disability rating. You can basically tag that 25% down payment to the person with 600K entitlement, and now you're getting like 80% of the funding fee waived. So many ways to work this, but essentially you have options. You can still access those low down, no PMI VA loans, and jumbo might be out of the question for this specific scenario, but if you get full entitlement left, you can get that. So if you have specific questions, reach out because this stuff gets pretty complex pretty fast. Bridge loan is when you want to use equity from one home as down payment for the loan on a second purchase without selling the first home first. Let's say you've got 50% of your house paid off and you want to go buy another place. You really don't have any liquid assets to make a down payment, but you really want to avoid the PMI because you're going with a conventional loan. The lender will still take into account your DTI for the period of time when you're holding both mortgages. And really, you do have to sell that home eventually. They give you 6 to 12 months to sell it. Depending on the program, they do give you like a guaranteed offer. Like if you can't sell in 6 months, they'll give you an option to sell to them at a certain price. You negotiate up front. But if you need that down payment funds and you've got high income, low DTI, you can support 2 mortgages on the DTI. It could be a great option for you. So, but it really only works if you've got some of your house paid off. So you can't do it if you've got like a 90% CLTV left on your house. Usually it's a 75% CLTV cap on that. Nobody has a crystal ball. Investors are actually the ones who set mortgage rates. So 30-year fixed rate mortgage is more closely tied to the 10-year treasury than it is to the Fed funds rate. You might see instant effects in like credit card rates when the Fed moves, but the effect can be totally uncorrelated and even opposite sometimes when like you see the Fed drop rates and mortgage rates go up and you're like, why is this happening? It's because investors, sometimes they think, oh, the Fed's dropping rates too quickly. This is actually going to overheat the economy, create a lot of inflation, and we're going to have to tame it like 2 or 3 years from now. And rates are going to have to go up 2 or 3 years from now. If an investor's trying to get the best return for their money, like you're buying a bond for your investment portfolio, and right now it's spitting off like a 6% rate, but you expect 3 years from now, like a 10-year, 30-year bond is going to be spitting off an 8% rate, you might think to yourself, well, let's just hold off on buying that bond for now and let's take advantage of when rates go up later. So the demand isn't there for the mortgages. It's a lot more complex than people think. There's not just this direct, like, oh, the Fed cut rates, therefore mortgage rates go down. It's like, how does the market think these rates dropping is going to affect long-term borrowing? If the Fed, cows to Trump's pressure and drops rates prematurely, and there's not good reason for it, I don't think mortgage rates are actually going to come down. You're on the fence and you're just waiting for the Fed to make a move. Maybe you should take a second look at that because there might not be the golden second half of 2026 that so many people are talking about, sometimes ignorantly, I think. Thanks for listening. This is Josh Server, realtor mortgage broker here in Colorado Springs. If you got any other questions or think I might be able to shed some light on, feel free to reach out. My number is 719-240-9055. Thanks.